Hello everyone and welcome to Open SAP course on SAP Analytics Cloud Planning. In this session we will show you a demo on collaborative enterprise planning, which will cover the process of monthly forecasting, where we also include live data from S4, as well as a multi-year strategic plan, which is then derived over into an annual budget plan, where we also leverage the functionalities and the integration of Smart Predict in SAP Analytics Cloud. Enjoy watching.
SAP Analytics Cloud Planning is the platform that unifies planning with augmented BI and predictive all in one solution. In the demo, we will demonstrate our collaborative enterprise planning capabilities for a bike manufacturing company at the end of Q1. We will start with a review of our overall company results. From there, we will do a forecast until the end of the year, then go into strategic planning and create a 3-year plan, which will then cascade down into the organization to create the annual budget. In addition to global controlling being involved, we will incorporate 2 additional LOBs into the annual budget process for the marketing campaign planning and the HR workforce planning. Let's get started. As a company that produces and sells bikes, we will start with a dashboard giving us an overview of the main company KPIs based on Q1 covering sales, finance, workforce. Our overall revenue seems to be good. The geomap is visualizing our revenue situation across the globe and is showing in red which regions are below budget. Additionally, we see the workforce KPIs predicting a high attrition rate for the current year, and the last employee survey score is concerning, which is being explained by the comments left via the commenting widget. Let us ask the system for the most relevant hidden insights into the numbers by using the SAC Augmented BI feature called Smart Insights, which will apply machine learning capabilities on our data. We can right-click on the variance between actuals and budget to access the Smart Insights feature, which works out of the box on any SAC model to get the system to provide us with the top contributors that make up this variance. We now easily see that the e-bikes are our top revenue growth driver and that the traditional bikes are seeing a decline. The market seems to be shifting to the e-bikes faster than we expected. The revenue breakdown page, we see our revenue numbers in more detail along our regions and products. Looking at the table in cell charts, we quickly find that the mountain product line is showing the largest decline across all product groups, and we also see that the mountain group does not have any electric bikes in its offering.
Starting with the revenue forecast, I will first of all create a brand new version as a copy of the actuals. By simply right-clicking on the actual version directly in the table and selecting Copy Version, I will create a new forecast version and call it Smart Prediction. The system automatically adds a new version to the table. I see that the version is empty from Q2 until the end of the year, same as my actual version. Next, we go into a Smart Predict functionality, which will utilize machine learning capabilities to automatically create a time series forecast of our revenue until the end of the year. We start off by seeing the overview page of a previously created predictive model with a relatively low MAPE value, which is the key performance indicator and stands for mean absolute percentage error. Basically, it tells the difference in percentage between the actuals and the model predictions. The lower the MAPE, the better. Here we see several models we already created in the past. As this feature is a self-serving business user capability and does not require any programming or deep data scientist expertise, I can quickly create a prediction on my own. So let's do it. As this feature works on any planning model out of the box, I'm able to simply select my demo model called Living Company. We can choose any version storing our historic data as well as our most recent actuals. Our signal variable is the account or the measure that we want to forecast. In this case, it is our sales revenue. For the time series forecast, we need to also select our date dimension. Finally, we define the segmentation and choose the region and product dimension. What this means is that the system will create one time series forecasting model per region and product combination in order to achieve the most accurate result by working on the detailed data level. As we want to create a forecast until the end of the year, I need to choose 9 periods to be created. Now that everything is configured, we can click on Train and the system will start running its predictive algorithms. Once the training is complete, we will get a detailed summary presented of the results. In the signal analysis, we can differentiate an overall trend, which in our case is positive, decoupled from the cycles, which might reflect seasonality or outliers. Now that we gained the necessary confidence into the predictive result, we will write it into our newly created version we called Smart Prediction. Let's now go back into our revenue forecast page and look at the predicted forecast in our table, with a detailed result created across all region and product combinations until the end of the year. The comparison to the previous forecast shows a decline, and we see the new forecast is predicting us ending the year below budget. With the revenue forecast concluded, we can now move on to the expense forecast. The calendar component in SAC is the inbuilt workflow component that helps us create workflows for various planner and reviewer. In this case, I have been assigned to the region Germany and a story has been attached to the task. The task also carries the filter context for the story to open. As we enter the story, we see that the filter has been applied to Germany. As we are processing our forecast for April, the cutover date is set accordingly, and we see the remaining months as input ready in the table. Due to the current situation, we will forecast a 40% reduction of our building expenses for April. Next, I want to focus on the travel expenses, which are also heavily impacted by the current situation and the travel freeze, which has been implemented company-wide. If we scroll down, we see 2 additional tables which are showing live data from our S/4HANA system. This table is giving me a live comparison of my SAC forecast plan with the very detailed travel expense line items from the S/4HANA systems. This is achieved using our live blending feature, which does not require any data replication and is enabling me a view into my transactional system, including much more details behind the travel expense account than I have in my planning model. The live blending of plan data with other data sources works with all live connectivity supported systems. A few examples are S/4HANA BW SuccessFactors. Now I easily see that my forecast in April is 115K above my current actuals. With travel freeze in place, I decide to simply copy the latest actual value into my April forecast. We see the blended table is also updated and is now showing that the actuals and the plan in April are identical. Once finished with the forecast numbers, we will submit our task. Using the value driver tree, we will be able to create several versions using different business drivers and evaluating their impact on the top line as well as the bottom line. Let's do some additional adjustments on version 1. I will increase the investment into our mountain bike product group by raising the revenue targets for the year 21 and 22. As I change the growth rate, I immediately see what this change means for the overall revenue and the delta to the current baseline via SAC on-the-fly calculation capabilities. This in turn will also adapt my expense budgets based on the calculations I have modeled individually. I see the sales and marketing, production and the G&A expenses now adjusted as well. This should give the company the necessary resources to expand the mountain bike portfolio. We also see a slight increase in the overall operating income. Additionally, to tackle our high attrition problem we saw on the KPI page, I will increase the employee bonus and incentives to 20 million for the next 2 years. This will slightly lower my operating income. Using the waterfall chart on the right, I can compare the two versions and will make the decision to go forward with version 1 as our future strategic plan.
The operating income is copied into the budget by simply using copy and paste functionality. The system automatically performs a deep copy and assigns the values to the P&L accounts and the quarters, respectively months, with the same breakdown as available in the strategic plan. Now the budget will be further broken down along the regions and products. This is executed automatically by the system via so-called data action. So let's execute it now. This is also the point where real collaborative enterprise planning starts. We break down the financial numbers into detailed sales and expense numbers to create a starting point for our domain planners. For the revenues, we currently have no assignment on regional level. The system will allocate the values among the regions based on the values available for the previous year's forecast. For the product dimension, we already have an assignment on product group level based on the values copied from the strategy. The system will further disaggregate to the product level, referring to the previous year's forecast. We apply the same regional distribution logic for the operating expense and costs of goods sold. That means we distribute the values among the regions based on the previous year's forecast. It is special for the costs of goods sold that the values on product level are broken down based on the budgeted revenues to be aligned with the number of sales. Now that the data action is finished, let's quickly check the values generated by the system. We create a new product with a member on the fly functionality by just using the context menu of our table. We create our new e-bike M600E and we can directly assign property values. We assign the mountain bike product group and make it an e-bike type. Now that the new e-bike is created, we want to assign some of the budget to the new product. The overall budget for the mountain bike group was already raised within strategic planning to reflect the necessary investment. That's why we now want to redistribute the budget for the mountain bike product group to assign some budget to our new e-bike. We will leave the budget stable for our worst performing mountain bike and redistribute the values of our better performing ones. That is why we only select the better performing bikes and the new e-bike for redistribution. Here we need to enter the weights for the redistribution. As our new bike will need some time to be established in the market, the revenues will not be that high at the beginning, so only a minor part of the budget will be assigned. Now we just need to apply and the values are automatically redistributed. To make the new budget available for all, we need to publish the data. Now that the top-down budget is ready and we have introduced a new product in alignment with our strategy, we inform our colleagues to start annual marketing planning. They will need to detail the budget in the planning process. We leave a comment at the expense overview to inform our LOB colleague about the current status of the budgeting process. Additionally, we use the collaboration panel to start a discussion with our colleague. We attach the budget story so that he gets notified automatically and can directly jump into the right place to check the budgeted numbers.
SAC self-service capabilities and augmented BI features set up a domain plan from scratch, in this particular case for our marketing campaign planning across the regions. For our domain plan for marketing budget in 2021, we will reuse global dimensions like regions and products. Additional campaign details will be added as local dimensions. With this approach, you can leverage central structures to support efficiency and ensure data quality across all domain plans. So first, let's check out the result from the top-down budgeting process by opening the linked story in the discussion panel and navigate to the widget by clicking on the comment in the comments panel. As we can see from the top-down budgeting, our area of marketing expenses has been an assigned budget of 92.3 million. As a next step, we create our table that will serve to input all our planned campaigns for 2021. Let's fast forward. Together with the strategy team, we aligned to launch a new marketing campaign for our new e-mountain bike in 2021. So we create this campaign directly here in this table. The new campaign will be created as master data in our campaign dimension. Additionally, we add the new e-mountain bike that we created during the budgeting process, which is coming from our global dimension. The budget for this campaign will be 2 million, and we just enter it on the node level for 2021. You can directly drill down the hierarchy to see the details across all products, or we can switch here to see only leaf members. Now we can share this story, including the table, with all our team members to add all planned campaigns for 2021. As some regions have prepared their campaign budget for 2021 in Google Spreadsheet, I will show you how to integrate this into our local domain model. Let's have a look at the structure of the Google Spreadsheet. From here, we take the link to the spreadsheet, copy it to clipboard, and now we can start loading this into our domain model. In the data management area, we connect the source of Google Spreadsheet to our model and we define the data mapping for it. Let's fast forward a little bit here as well. In case you need to change the structure of your data, like in this case the date format, you can do this directly during the mapping process. Finally, all our data is mapped correctly and we can start importing the data. Now let's have a look at the story with our loaded data. We insert a line for our total and we see that we have a budget plan of 95 million. As a next step, we will use our smart capabilities to create a comprehensive reporting. Therefore, we start Smart Discovery. Smart Discovery will use machine learning to generate insights on top of your story. As a first result, we see the summary of our marketing expenses, and as this information is important during the bottom-up process, we will pin it to our home screen. In the time series chart below, we see which budget is required at which quarter. This might be of additional value, for example, for our treasury team. Coming back to the home screen, we see the added KPI of our marketing expenses. Before we hand over back to the budgeting team, we want to check again with the assigned budget from the top-down process. We can directly ask the system using Search to Insight and using natural language search capabilities to gather immediate information. As we can see, we only have an assigned budget of 93.5 million, so we now need to align with the global team.
Via the discussion panel, we get informed about an exceeded bottom-up marketing budget. So let us check the required adjustments. We can see that an additional marketing budget of $3.51 million is required. As we want to hold the overall other operating expense stable, we lock the targeted expense value. Now we increase the marketing expenses by the necessary adjustment and automatically reallocate the remaining expenses accordingly. Having aligned our top-down and bottom-up marketing expenses, we now want to switch over to workforce planning to check alignment with our strategy.
We have created a new model in Smart Predict to better predict attrition. Simply using last year's rate will not provide the insights needed to drive change in our organization. Once the model has been trained, we can review the key influencers in detail. For seniority, we see that those with 5+ years experience are most likely to leave, and from a gender category, we see that females are most likely to leave. Knowing that seniority is a key influencer, perhaps we'd like to allocate some money to those with 5+ years experience that are predicted to leave based on our Smart Predict model. We can make many different changes to our overall value driver tree, both the drivers and the individual members, to simulate different scenarios. In this case, we may look to bring our entire plan back into budget by adjusting the number of contractors, and we may, depending on the results, need to look at our yearly raise as well. Once we're happy with our plan, we can run a data action, which essentially will copy our global rates down to the employee level. And this is what's going to allow us to engage our management team for making adjustments to their employees. So here we're looking at Marco's team for the assembly operator group for a pay grade 6. Looking at the chart, those in green are being paid more than average, and those in red are being paid less than average. Here we're going to focus on Fan, who is an extraordinary employee that is paid well below average. We'll adjust Fan's salary to raise to 10% and lower the raises for several employees that are underperforming.
Here we are able to see the comments left by the planners during the planning process to the key positions in our budget, giving context to how the final numbers are derived. This gives the CFO immediately an overview of the intention behind. It's now easier for him to analyze and to decide.
In this unit, you had the opportunity to see how an end-to-end scenario for financial planning can look like. It started with the overview of the company's most important KPIs and then showing a monthly forecast using predicted plan values. Furthermore, also a multi-year strategic plan has been presented, which then was used as our basis for the annual budget. In the next unit, my colleague Holger will talk about creating planning models. Thank you for watching.